So I was like, okay, you are abroad. I'm in Nigeria. I'm single, you're single. The truth of the matter is that I have a letter here that's been sent to me.
Now, I didn't even know who he was, despite the fact that I have met him before, right?
But I was scared. I was actually scared because number one, I was not in love with her and it was obvious. I did not know we were going to get married. I did not know it was going to sail through. The whole caveat about, she was friends with my other friend.
Alright, so my name is Chika. Well, right now I've inherited the last name Queen Builder, so I hope we are able to have an interesting conversation and then we get to know each other better. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, thank you. So the first question we have here is, how did you initially meet and decided to pursue a long distance relationship? Oh, that means the person already knows that we actually had a long distance relationship. Okay, good. So I'll allow Chika, introduce briefly. How did we meet?
All right. So we met in 2010. Was that 2010?
Yes.
Okay. We met in 2010, and he actually came to my school to see a friend, and then I actually bumped into him like in the friend's room, and then we said hi, and that was the only thing we said. And if you understand the dynamics of Nigerian universities where you have female and male hostels, if you come to like a friend's room or something and there's a man in the room, you just reverse and go away. So I just said hi and I reversed, and I think my gist ended immediately and I walked away. And then that was it. That was the last time we met in person, face to face. And then that was it. Yeah,
so what she's saying is that I went to her school to write an exam actually. So because what took me there, the school is University of Nigeria in Nsukka in Enugu State. So I went to write a scholarship exam. Then I was seeking to travel to the United Kingdom for a master's degree. I'd already, I wanted to study abroad. So there was this federal government scheme that is called the PTDF Fund, the Petroleum Technology Development Fund. That is a mark for those that want to study abroad. So I was one of those that was shortlisted to go write the exam. So the southeast location was zoned to her school. So that's how I went, and lucky enough I had a friend there who was schooling in the school. So she was aware that I was in town and she invited me over to briefly see her in her room and her friends. I've been hearing about her and her other friends. Oh, Dr. Chika, Dr. this, Dr. I said, okay, these are your wonderful friends, I'll meet them. So when I came, I just stood out, where are your friends? So she had to go send for them to tell them that I was around. That's okay. So that was just the genesis of it all, how we met, and that was all. I did not get her phone number. I didn't even know her surname. I just know she's Chika, and Dr. Chika for that matter. So yeah, that's how we met. And by the time the second part of the question says, and decide to pursue a long distance relationship. So when did we reconvene our meeting again?
So the thing is, I left Nigeria in 2017, and upon leaving Nigeria, I remember that my dad asked a very interesting question. He asked me, I hope you did not promise anybody that you're going to be married to the person prior to leaving. And I said no, I did not. And then I left. And one of the interesting things that happened to me upon coming to the US is that I'm born and bred Deeper Life. We go attend Deeper Life Bible Church. So I moved to Texas and I was there, and I didn't have any plan of, I want to be married or anything like that, which is not out of place, considering the time and the age I left Nigeria. But then I went to church. I remember our church is kind of small, so when I went to Houston for church, I was actually there and watching. We had, I think it was Thanksgiving, because I came in the fall. Thanksgiving service, and I was there. From time to time people talk about, oh, when are you going to be married? When are you, things like that. But it didn't really bother me because that was not in my focus. I'm one of those people who believe that if you are working in your purpose, the man that will take you to the next level will come by. If you are working with God and you're doing what you're supposed to do, that was always my mantra. So I was not actively in pursuit of searching for a man or anything like that. I didn't even think about all those spans. But as I went to church that day, church was interesting. I watched a lot of people, the service was nice and everything, but it dropped in my mind and in my spirit that your husband is not here in the US. And for obvious reasons, I looked at being a human being, I looked at all the people I saw, even these men who could be eligible. I mean, I left Nigeria at the age of 26, almost 27, and most of the people that were in the age to be married were all married. And the people who were actively trying to marry are either in my age group or somewhere lower. So I'm saying to myself, seriously, what am I mean, as a human being, this is me talking. So I thought about it for a few minutes, but God just dropped it in my mind that your husband is not here in the US. The demographic or the things you are seeing actually is true. There is no way and manner that I looked at it all around. Of course, I was myopic, right? I was not seeing everybody in the US, but this is just my own point of view. And so from then, I didn't even bother over familiarizing this thing people do when they come to a new country. They're everywhere, they're in every meeting, I didn't do that. I don't even bother doing that. It's not in my regular nature, but that was just it. I just zoned off, right? I kept my contacts open to Nigeria because I just came from Nigeria. Bulk of my friends are in Nigeria, right? And I answer my messages. I really don't answer social media messages, to be honest, in general. And it's not because of anything, it's just because social media is open. A lot of people are just going to go into your DMs and say things. Lots of people didn't even know I was out of the country. That was another thing. So people spoke with me as though I was within the country. So I left it as such, right? And so that was in November. We went for Thanksgiving and I came back and I started writing my exams. I think my husband messaged me maybe a week or two after that, but I was back for the fall exam, so I was not even paying attention to any messages. I was not answering calls. I was not doing any single thing. All I was doing was just sitting down and preparing for my test. So at the end of my test and all my results were out and I had my 4 points that I was hoping to have, then I opened my social media, I opened my Facebook to see what's going on, what's happening. I was not even checking anything. And then I started answering messages. Then I saw his message. Now, I didn't even know who he was, despite the fact that I have met him before, right? I just, because when I see a message and I don't know the person is not my friend, I have to you have to go and check who's this person. And I saw he had 30-something mutual friends with me, and I'm like, how come I don't know you? I don't really know you. How do you have this number of mutual friends and I don't know you? So I think I moved on. I asked a friend of mine. I responded to that message. Honestly, I responded to that message hi, how are you and everything. Then he responded back after 2 weeks. I'm in my mind, I'm like, Oga, shall be happy I answered you because I don't know which one is after 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks, this is the time I have. So anyways, I responded to him and then I asked a friend of ours. So I saw some people that were mutual friends. I went to my closest friend and I asked her, who is this guy? So she gave me reference points. This is who he is. This is how we became mutual friends. And I'm like, okay. All right, let's see what he wants and go from there.
All right, yeah, that's a wonderful story. Yeah, but let me borrow from what she said as well. She did say that, God ministered to her that her husband wasn't in the location where she was. And I had similar encounter. And when it dropped on me that my wife is not in Nigeria, that was late 20s, I think that my wife, I think it was in 2017 too, but it was stronger in 2017. But around late 2016, I started having that feeling that the person I'm going to marry to may not be in the country. But it became stronger in 2017, and by the time it became stronger, this mutual friend of hers, had just traveled abroad too. I had another person too who had traveled abroad, and I was just, okay, this mutual friend went to give birth. So I asked her, how far? What about, hey, congratulations and everything. What about this lady? What about her? Because we have a mutual friend, and I was also being careful not to push beyond the normal platonic, high thing, because I wasn't ready for any drama that may follow. So, but this third mutual friend sort of said, oh, she's not around, she has traveled, that was around when she was coming back. She replied and said, you're no more in the country, that you have traveled. I said, okay, that's fine. So I just zeroed her, okay, this one is not in the question. I've not even met her well to know. I only said hi to her some 7 years ago. That was, 2010, 2017. So it was when we went now. I now went to Rehan Bonke Crusade. There was a crusade, the last Rehan Bonke Crusade that happened in 2017 around October, November, yeah. That he handed over to Daniel Kolanda. I went to that crusade. I literally drove down there, and as at then I was already 35 years plus and counting. And everywhere I'd gone to, they said, oh, he has refused to marry. Oh, he's breaking the sister's heart. Oh, he's doing this. To the extent they reported me to the headquarters of Deeper Life Bible Church. And one of our strong elderly father, the number 2 in command, I'm not going to call him, he collected my data and said, Victor, they've reported you to me that you have refused to marry. Give me your phone number, give me your email. I'm going to check on you by this time next year if you're not yet married, because I took a proposal, a project to execute, and the embargo was you're not married, so you can't do it. So you see, singles with a suffer. So I took that burden to Rehan Bonke Crusade. You can imagine a man burdened. So when I went to that Rehan Bonke Crusade, the last day of the crusade, after the normal thing, you go, you come back, the traffic, you go, you come back the next day. Then that last day I was like, Lord, what is this? My name is becoming an eyesore. If they mention my name, that brother that's refused to marry, that brother is breaking sister's heart. And I'm like, okay, but that's not who I am. That's a wrong perception of who I am. So at that crusade, I was ready in my car driving out. That's how I heard the voice of God clearly say, go back to that stage and go and lay your hands on the horns of the altar and pray on that stage. So that's how I responded. I turned back. People were going. Me, I was going back to the venue of the crusade. I went back, I parked. I trekked to the stage because by then everybody had started going. So there were people who were unpacking the stage. That was the last night before the final night, So I laid my hands on that altar behind the stage, like held it. And I heard a voice. The way God moves, that he gives you instructions step by step. When you obey the first one, he will tell you the next thing to do. So I obeyed that first one. He said I should go back. As I got to and I laid my hand, say, empty everything in your pocket. Luckily, I don't know how I brought my international passport to the Rehan Bonke Crusade. I'm telling you, I don't know how I brought. Till tomorrow, I don't know how that international passport was in my pocket. That's the last place your international passport wants to be. So lo and behold, in my pocket there was an international passport, valid one. There was my ATM card, not in my wallet. It was in my pocket, direct pocket. I had my car keys, and I had some cash. In Nigeria we're still running a cash economy then. It wasn't cashless then. So I brought out everything out and I put it on the altar. That was instruction. And I kept praying. I did not even mind if anybody would steal my international passport or my, my car keys or anything. I just put it on top of that altar. I was on the floor and I was praying on that altar. And after I finished praying and I got a confirmation that God has heard my tears, because I was just worried that I was single at that. Was it a job? I had a job. Was it a house? I had a house. Okay, but just like, Isaac asked the father, we have the wood, we have the fire, but where is the lamb for the sacrifice? I'm not saying you are the lamb. So where is the wife now? Because I had so many wonderful, glorious, deeper life, holy filled, Holy Spirit filled sisters around me. And I cannot marry everybody. It must be one person. Right. But I needed to know who the person was. I needed to know my partner. And God heard my cry. He gave me another instruction after I finished. He said, start taking the things, close your eyes. Start taking the things that you brought out from your pocket one by one and put them back in your pockets. The first thing I took was my international passport. So I took it to say, your wife is not in this country. I took my international, I said, get ready to travel. Your wife is not in this country. Okay. The next thing I took was my ATM card. He said he's going to close a major deal. That I'm going to close some very big transaction. I'm telling you. And as I was looking to close a Facebook deal that has been delaying. The present minister for communication and digital economy, Boson Tijani, was my direct client then, who was liaising with Facebook, and I was a guy in Nigeria making things happen. And it was as if the thing was delaying. Believe me, those things came to pass. I closed that Facebook deal, and it was the biggest deal I've ever closed. You can imagine Facebook. And my international passport, as God will have it, confirmed that I needed to then look amongst everybody that I know that I've reached out to that is not in the country. At first, I reached out to a sister thinking she was the one. Who is blind but my servant? That's just the truth. One thing, when God is leading you, don't just think it is a casting stone. God likes to lead, in dynamic ways. The Bible says in Hebrews that how, God at sundry times spoke to the fathers through the prophet, but now he's speaking to us through his son. So God moves in dispensation, speaks in a dynamic way. And when it's always good to listen to God attentively, because he can change the scope, he can change the direction, because he is God. He doesn't like to reveal everything, because that's what makes him God. He wants to see whether little simple obedience can be followed. So I initially reached out to a sister, and the whole truth was I did not love her. This is the first time I'm saying this on camera. And not love her, although I told the marriage committee, they were like, do you love her? Share your testimony of. I said, I don't love her, but I'm tired of being single. I said, I'm tired of being single. And they laughed at me. They said, bro, this is why you want to go and, we know we are the one putting you under pressure, but don't go and marry somebody you don't love. I said, please, you people have casted me too much. I cannot even carry a sister in my car and go to Bible study. They will come and report me and say, bro, Victor carried a sister in the car to Bible study. So I just wanted to take away that stigma, right? So, but as God will have it, God in his manifold wisdom made sure that sister, the thing did not just see the light of the day. While I was waiting, even after I'd gone to the MC, God impressed upon me that it's my wife that I should read. But I was afraid. This person is friends with my other friend, and I don't know what to say. But I just said, okay, let me just say hi to fulfill all righteousness. So I said, hi, my name is Victor. I am this person. You've met me before. I met you in 2010 and everything. Then it took 2 weeks before she said hello back. How can you take 2 weeks to respond to a potential bro? A bro that has come to walk you down the aisle. You're taking 2 weeks to respond. Can you just imagine? You the sisters, you're shakara too much. But she said hi and everything. So it was still platonic. Just believe me, I did not know we were going to get married. I did not know it was going to sail through. The whole caveat about she was friends with my other friend. I don't know how it was going to pan out, but I just obeyed, and it was normal platonic conversation and everything. And yes, then when marriage committee told me, don't you have somebody else? This person that you don't love, that you are pushing, we'll give you letter, but know that we warned you. I became afraid. I became afraid. So I said, okay.
Well, I'll be like,
I became afraid. I had to okay. So one of the marriage committee meetings, I had to tell them, I have somebody else, but she's not in the country. But I don't know. She's friends with my other friend, but I don't know. They say, do you love her? I said, I think I have love for her. And more than this person that I know very well, but there is no love. It's just because I know her, I just felt, okay, I know this. They say the devil is better than the angel you don't know, but as a child of God, you don't walk by some very fallacious statement like that. It's not always true. You should always walk by faith and trust the word of God. So I told the leaders, and that's the place of counseling. So I told them, this other person is here. They were like, you know what? Bring that person's name. Don't worry, we'll help you work it out. That they were going to, reach out to the US. They were going to do everything for me. That I should not worry. I said, okay, let's see how it goes. But I needed to clear this other subjects that are already initiated. I needed to make sure it dissolves easily without any issue. So officially we dissolved. So lo and behold, I was to go to Abuja. I told my friend then, she wasn't my fiancée then, we're just like, yeah, I'm going to Abuja. It would be nice to say hello to your father or your family. I just wanted to say hello. She was like, what would you tell them that you are to me? I said, just tell them I'm your church member in Lagos, that's all. So I hand over to her to talk about that story. So when I told you I was going to Abuja, what came to your mind? Then we're not yet dating, right? So we're not officially cutting, but we're just talking.
The thing is that I actually don't know, because it's not, if you have been born and bred as a Deeper Life member and as a Christian first, let us put it that way, and then the added layer of being a Deeper Life bred child, especially female, that your life is not the regular girl's life out there. All right, you don't just wake up in the morning and present a man to your father. That is never going to happen. That is not going to happen. So you're going to have to be sure. I don't know about other people, but that was the way I was groomed. All right, you don't just wake up. I didn't even have that kind of nerve. Okay, so, but he said he was going to Abuja. Now, in the span of this time, between that December, like end December to January, when he said he was going to Abuja, we spoke a lot. We spoke extensively. And, school was closed, right? So I just sat and we were gisting. We talked into the new year and everything. So he told me we were going to Abuja. I said, fine. First of all, I don't live in Nigeria anymore, at least at the time. So anybody who wants to talk to me, because I'm one of those people who always felt like, if you grew up as a Deeper Life girl, you'd be like, everything was so strict, everything was so difficult, you don't want to involve your parents from the get-go. But at this point in time, I had to involve my parents because I was not there. There is no way I would find out like who this person is. I can't gauge just from talking on the phone or talking video or anything like that. It's not going to help. So I actually agreed to, okay, go ahead and go see my parents. All right, I said, fine, go see my parents.
Now I went to work. I went to Abuja to work.
Yes, you went to Abuja to work, right?
So it wasn't that maybe that was a trip.
No.
Your parents were not the one that
was not the trip.
So it was Abuja.
Wait. So my husband had to go to Abuja for work, and he asked if he needed to see my parents. Like I was explaining, there is no way. I don't have eyes, and as a human being, I cannot tell what the veracity of some of the things he's saying. Okay, and honestly, in the church they taught us, we were taught heavily to pray and rely on God. And I know that a lot of us, even when we're growing up, we're like, won't you see the person, or won't you know the person, or won't you do this? We always thought about or argued about, what if all this praying and you don't get to do long courtship? I know we argued all of those things about that the church always talked about, and you're like, how would you know? How would you not know? You finish and then the person will change for you. But the truth is that I did not know, and I cannot deny that. So I had to say, okay, fine. If you're going to go to Abuja, it will be important that my parents, especially my dad, gets to see you. And so I told my dad that a friend was coming to visit a church member, because he was even talking about buying some of the things my dad sells at the time. So I said, fine, go see my dad in the office so we can put a face to the name and to what the person is saying.
Okay.
All right. So he went to see my dad in the office, and they had a robust conversation. They had a nice conversation, I think, and we went from there. I think it was about 2 weeks after, because after seeing my dad, I didn't know how to muster up the courage to tell my father that he was coming with the mind to be married. Well, anyway, I think we jumped a session.
We jumped so many things.
We jumped a lot of things that happened in between.
Okay. So what happened was this. I had work to do. I was a GM for a particular company back home in Nigeria then, and we had a branch in Abuja, and I needed to go and see how my members of, my departments were faring. So I was controlling both the Lagos and Abuja and Port Harcourt office as a GM. So I needed to see the business and how it was doing to report to the CEO. So that trip was a work trip. But how work trips are. It was Monday to Friday. But by Friday I was supposed to come back. But I decided to shift my flight till Saturday. Was it Saturday? Yes, Saturday, right? So that I could, and by Saturday I mean Saturday. Was it Saturday or Sunday? Maybe it was even Sunday.
It was Sunday.
I can't remember now because I attended a wedding that day and I saw Dad.
Yes.
And I think that was the same day I went to the airport. It was Saturday night.
Okay.
So I decided to put my flight on Saturday night, late into the night. I saw a very late flight. So I had the whole of Saturday with me to sort of, move around town to see people I knew. I had a wedding. A friend of mine was also getting married last Saturday. So a lot of things took me to Abuja. So before some of you think, just in 1 month, you're already going to see the parents, so no. So it was just coincidental. I had work, and since the family lives in Abuja, I just had to, that was how I was led then, to just see the family, and it was part of my testing period to confirm that God actually is in charge of this. She was not around and I had not seen her, and I had every reason to be afraid or to have some stage fright as it were, but I just muzzled up that courage to sort of push beyond the norm, as people say. So I decided to go see her father, but the father was not at home, he was at his office. So I was asked to come to the office. So I met him. Oh, who are you? I said, my name is Victor. Oh, my daughter told me you're a church member and that. Oh, I said, yes, I am. That, I am in Lagos and I work with the church as well as a worker and as a key leader. So that was where the whole conversation, an average Deeper Life man will always love when a young Deeper Life brother is coming to say hello. So it was a good conversation. We had a robust one for that matter. So we had a lot of interesting things to talk about, from my work to my career to what I do in the church. And funny enough, that was when the church was about to launch the cathedral, and some of the things the church sells were some of the things in the dad's office, and he imports them from, the OEMs. By OEM, I mean overseas equipment manufacturers. So he has access to a lot of those equipment that we needed to install. So it was more like, okay, the conversations led to being a GM now, definitely as an average Igbo man, I would discuss business with a senior Igbo man. So we had a common ground that conversation was quite robust, and there was nothing insinuating that I was coming to marry the daughter. We did not say anything because I was still praying. Mind you, I was still praying. So it was after I came back and I'd met the father, I met the two younger brothers, and they were like, oh, you have never so confidently sent a man home. What is this thing going on? So tell us about that part where your brother sort of asked you, who is this guy?
Well, I think I was nervous. That was just it. I was nervous all through. I didn't know how to broach the conversation. And actually, my brothers weren't my issue. My issue actually was with my father, because he's the head of our home. He runs our home. He has reposited a lot in me, and I cannot just wake up in the morning and fail him. And one of the places I definitely knew I could not fail at was being married. It's just the baseline. I know a lot of families, that is just the baseline for every female, but for me particularly, considering the kind of family I came from, considering the kind of father I had, I just could not do otherwise. So yes, my brothers asked me. Now I think we jumped a couple of things, because in the course of having this conversation in between December, you brought up marriage. Like,
so the way I approached the matter was this. So I was like, okay, you are abroad, I'm in Nigeria, I'm single, you're single. The truth of the matter is that I have a letter here that's been sent to me to go and propose to somebody. The church had given me permission to go ahead with the other lady, as I said earlier on. But I was scared. You know, I was actually scared because, number one, I was not in love with her, and it was obvious I wasn't in love with her. And, you know, love is a critical component in marriage. If a man, before, you know, marrying you is not in love with you, it's very difficult for him to grow into love, into loving you.
No.
It's easier for a woman
It's possible.
Okay.
It's possible.
I don't know.
But it's difficult.
Yes, because the average man will always come back to saying, after all, in the first place, God, I did not love her. You remember Adam? Adam gave excuse and said, God, is this woman you gave me? I was sleeping and you brought a woman to me. So, somebody says since that day, God has stopped doing all the work for a man, that you have to do some of the work yourself.
All right, so I think going back, being able to bring up that conversation with my dad was a big deal. And
That's the Abuja trip. You have not brought up any conversation.
Yes, I had.
So that's a different video entirely. So you guys don't worry. We're going to dish you out.
But
you know,
because of the kind of family I came from and the fact that we are Christians.
I just went as your church member.
No.
No, can't a church member visit a sister's family?
Yes.
Even if the sister is not around.
Well, you can. But in my case, it has a different connotation.
I don't understand.
Because
people will be making our brothers afraid. So we cannot go to a family house. I'm not going to visit the sister. Sister is not around. I only went to the father's house. And I'm an Igbo brother. The father is an Igbo man. I just said, hey, daddy, your son just said hi.
Listen, you guys should subscribe and wait for the part 2 of this video.
As in this part 2, you will hear the gist.
Because I don't know what he's talking about, but you will both agree with me. You guys agree with me that what I'm saying is true. And depending on the kind of family you come from, right, you can probably agree or disagree. It doesn't matter which side you stay on. You're fine, right? But for me, it took me prayers and mustering of that courage to explain what relationship this man has and why I was introducing him to my father. I'll see you in the next video.
Alright guys, see you in the next video.
Bye.
Please don't forget to subscribe. The King Builders.
Alright.
The King Builders.
Alright, take care.
Alright, yeah.
Bye.
Bye.